Welcome to LAPUx Lessons. This podcast is a growing collection of conversations with thought leaders in the online professional development space. Here at LAPU, our award-winning team strives to create world-class online learning experiences that put humanity back into learning. Join us on our journey to innovate in the online classroom and show the world what learning feels like.
Welcome, everyone, to our podcast. We are so excited to have you join us today. We get to have both Rhonelee and Efren, who are part of our e-learning team, here with us today to share a little bit more about how they've created and designed the Entrepreneurial Mindset badge that we have available on x.lapu.edu. You all know me. My name is Meghan Burns. I've been working with LAPUx for a while now, but primarily I want you to get to know Rhonelee and Efren. So I'm going to pass it to you two to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hey guys, I am a senior instructional media designer with LAPU. I've been working at LAPU for about 5 years, and my passion is in the creative fields. I love media development. I love making videos. I love making games, interactives, writing stories, and I hope that you can see that passion in the courses. Go on, Efren.
Hey, Rhonelee. Hi, I'm Efren, instructional media designer. I work with Rhonelee. We create media interactive medias, making content to help the learners retain all these information in a more creative way, and also just making it more fun.
Awesome. Well, for our listeners that might not be as familiar with what an instructional media designer does, how would you describe what you do on a day-to-day basis? I know one of you described yourselves as an artist, as a designer. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So on a day-to-day, I would have to say that a lot of the work we do, they're project heavy in terms of when you're creating videos or games, there's a process to it, from storyboarding the vision and to creating the product, and then to editing the product, and then to publishing the product, and then to getting feedback from the product. And then after that, it's all a repeat cycle. I would compare it a lot to the life of, the entertainment industry, where they're just constantly pushing things out and just always thinking about the next project. So it's constantly busy, but what I love about this is that it's fun and it's very fulfilling.
Yeah, so I want to add to that. Creating these courses, well, for me, I like to approach it where I want to make sure that the learners really understand what I'm trying to say. So how would I teach it? That's what I do, is like, when I create these courses, I close my eyes, like, okay, does it make sense? Like, I put myself in someone that's, starting to learn this. Does it make sense? If you didn't know this information, does it accomplish what you're trying to learn? And that's what I like putting myself in that situation, just understanding the learners and putting myself there.
Yeah, thank you guys for sharing. I can see for each of you your passion. I wish everybody could see your faces and how you describe this. But both of you are so excited. And Efren, I think you touched on a really good point about the coursework that we offer through LAPUx, in that it is very deeply personalized and it is so specific to the learner, because we want to really design learning that sticks. And it sounds like your primary job is to build visuals and build content that is going to stick for learners, and to know that you make it so personally yourself and also put so much of yourself into it. It so reflects in the content that learners get to interact with. So let's dive a little bit deeper into this specific badge that we're talking about on entrepreneurial mindset. Tell us a little bit about the badge just to get us started.
When you think entrepreneurial mindset, people immediately think, I have to be a business owner. But our course, we want to communicate the message that you don't have to be a business owner to master the mindsets, because we believe that it is a set of skills that you can use to apply in every aspect of your life. And this course, we believe that when you take it, you will get those skills and you will feel confident enough to tackle daily things. Efren, do you want to add to that?
No, yeah, because, okay, so the skills that we use in our daily life, in your job, with your family, these are skills that are very important. sometimes you don't realize that it's a skill that you use every day, not only in just business. And what we're doing is we're sharpening that tool so that we can use those skills. And so it's really more of a growth, learning more about that skill. And that's what we're doing. We're going into a deeper understanding of the entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah, it almost sounds like these are life lessons or even leadership lessons that we are now just looking at through the lens of being an entrepreneur. Yes?
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. Well, as we prepped, we talked a little bit about how in any project that any of us are working on, it is always going to be about finding the middle ground between being human-centric and learner-centric, but also needing to meet deadlines, which in a sense is being a little bit business-centric. So tell me a little bit about that process. How do you balance making sure that you are meeting the standards that you hold for yourselves in creating this content for learners, but also making sure that it is available in a timely manner for learners? How do you marry that tension?
I think I just want to add into from the beginning when we started this course, me and Rhonelee just raised their hand and said, I want to take this topic. We want to really write this course. And we were so ambitious. We really wanted to, we're so excited. So we came up with the pitch of making it a different way of learning. And when we were building this course, we ran into a lot of technical issues, which kind of set us back, which when you're building something, you just get discouraged, or you just feel like, oh, it's not going the way I want, and it was a struggle, like a mindset, like struggle as a designer. But that's the best part. From that, what we were struggling for, we've also learned from it, because we were creating this course not thinking that we wanted to grow as a developer as well. So we challenged ourselves. We went beyond. That's what happened. We're like, let's just take this content and let's just make it even amazing, And the outcome of it, building this course, was we learned as a developer where limits are and how much we can actually do. But then now we know where we are and how we can grow from that. And yeah, it was a great experience. That's all I could say. And as a designer, just when you feel uncomfortable, I felt uncomfortable. Like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. But you know what? I'm just gonna do it, and that's how you grow. And that's where it ended. From there.
Yeah, I feel like it sounds like both of you had to embrace the entrepreneurial mindset as you were even designing the content.
That is so true.
So, Efren, you mentioned you ran into some technical issues. So, for our designers who are listening, can you tell us a little bit more about the obstacles that you might have faced, the challenges you came up against, and how you overcame those?
Yeah, of course. So one thing that really stuck out is we pitched this idea of going through creating this course with virtual reality, VR, and we work with a Adobe program, Captivate. It has a VR. What we struggle was the accessibility part. And to me, that's very important when we create this course, because I want it to be very universal. It was very difficult to create that. And that's where I just felt, it's not going the way I want it to go. It's just that one thing, but it's such a big thing. Part of LAPU is accessibility. I want to make sure that our courses are very universal for the learners, because I want everyone to take this course. I want everyone to appreciate as much as I enjoyed creating it. So that was one of the struggles. Do you feel like there was anything on your end, Rhonelee?
There were some limitations with just the way things look. I think as designers, we were envisioning this really far-fetched concept and we wanted to implement it correctly. But when you get to building it and then you find the certain resources, they're not all there. And then you're like, okay, you feel underwhelmed. And then that's when you don't feel confident in pushing out the product, because in the beginning you pitched this and then you gave that because of what was available. And so that caused a lot of setbacks for us. And I think that's something that we can all learn from, in a sense, like you won't always get everything you dream of. You have to work with what you have. So I think for the most part, we delivered a great product. But it was just the fact that we're so hard on ourselves. We're never fully satisfied.
I gotta say though, when resources are limited, I think that's when creativity can really take off too. So you might have even found ways of being creative and utilizing the resources that you do have to be able to fulfill all of that vision. So you are hard on yourselves, of course. I mean, we all are. But ultimately, I think that guiding vision that you had probably led you to being creative in how you leveraged the limited resources that you did have.
True.
I have gone through the Entrepreneurial Mindset badge, been able to see everything you guys created, and I will say it is pretty incredible. Again, I'm very biased, but just to give you guys a little bit of props there, you know, I know that it feels like there's limitations, but those limitations often birth even more creativity. So that being said, we've talked a little bit about the obstacles. What went really well about designing this course? What worked for you?
While we were building this course, I was just learning I was learning so much from it while we were trying to teach someone else a subject, a course, you know, and I think that's such a mind-blowing idea.
To further elaborate on what I felt worked well, I kind of wanted to bring back one of our approaches, which is the no, feel, do framework. And when it came to creating this course, I wanted us to have the feeling of being guided through a new virtual reality assistant. Her name is Efren. It's an AI character. And we really wanted to have this breaking the fourth wall approach where this AI character talks to you. And she's pretty much holding your hand, going through the entire journey with you. I feel that we were able to capture that very well. And you'll see it in the beginning, the ending. I don't want to spoil too much, but I personally feel that that was something that I'm proud of.
I want to add into that actually. Yeah, when we created the course, we went into the approach of you learn as you do it. So we put the learner into a scenario and they will end up doing it. And from there, they'll kind of learn the process of it, which will really retain the information. And I think that approach was so great in that course, which I think we did pretty well on that.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys mentioned the no, feel, do framework, and we do have another podcast that focuses on what that is. But for our listeners who might not be familiar with what we're talking about, can you guys give a brief synopsis of that no, feel, do framework?
When we design our courses, we believe that courses should be engaging in the sense that it connects to you on a personal level. And how do you connect to someone on a personal level? We believe that it's through these three actions: knowing what concepts do you need to take in, absorb, that will get you to the next level. What do you want the user to feel? Do you want them to feel excited? Do you want them to feel frightened? Do you want them to feel happy? You know, what are the emotions that you want the user to feel? Because we believe that feelings are the most important thing when it comes to being connected to the material you take in. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, it's doing. And like Efren mentioned, we believe in learning by doing. So these experiences that we have in our course, the user will be doing things by putting themselves in the minds of 4 different entrepreneurs.
So Rhonelee, you said that we were learning by doing. And what's interesting is a lot of the stories that you shared over the past 20 minutes exemplify that, where you and Efren both were learning by doing as you were designing this. So having had that experience, how did designing this particular badge on Entrepreneurial Mindset influence how you went forward designing other badges? Because you have a ton of other badges that you've been a part of designing. So how did this specific one influence your learning?
I feel, one, it gave me the confidence to take on more courses and just not being so apprehensive when it comes to doing things that not maybe in my wheelhouse. I'm more prepared in terms of what to expect. like knowing that there will always be challenges, but this time knowing how to overcome those challenges by reaching out to the right people. One of the biggest takeaways I've learned was I have to rely on people when I'm confused, because I think me and Efren, we were both relying on each other too much. Like we felt like we made a mistake in not going to our other team members for that additional help. But that was such a great learning lesson.
I know right after we created this course, I went to another course, building with another team. And there was so much I brought with me from what I learned from this course, and we made that new course. It was just, the process just went smooth because I knew I was prepared for any obstacles we would run into. Like I knew how to overcome those obstacles already because I've went through it.
So with those learnings, what advice would you give to other instructional designers out there listening?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. And it's okay to bite more than you can chew. It's always encouraged to bite more than you can chew, because then that's how we learn. And that's how we grow.
Yeah, and be ambitious. And if you fail, get right back up. Learn something from it. Like I like to say, now that you know, what are you going to do about it? And I follow that.
Thank you both so much for sharing. Anything else that you'd like to add before we sign off today?
Yes, because we worked so hard on this course and we're so excited to just have it out there, we would definitely love your feedback on your experience of the course if you do decide to take it.
Awesome. Yeah, you can find the Entrepreneurial Mindset badge at x.lapu.edu. You can find a number of other badges as well as certificates on that same website. And at the very end of the badge, like Rhonelee said, there's an opportunity to share feedback. And this was a passion project of theirs. This is a little bit of their heart and soul that they've gotten to share with you, listeners and learners. So please feel free to give us your feedback. We would love to hear it. Rhonelee, Efren, thank you so much for joining us today. I had a great time getting to know you, getting to know your stories, what it felt like to be able to design this course. And I am just so grateful that we get to have you as a part of the e-learning team. Aww. So thanks so much, and tune in next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of LAPUx Lessons. We hope you had fun learning something new today. If you did, please take a few seconds to review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. We value your feedback so highly because we're doing this for you. Come connect with us on social media so we can get to know you better. All of our channels are listed in the show description. Before you go, we want to invite you to visit x.lapu.edu to see the courses that our awesome team has created. Check back often as we're always developing new offerings. Or you can subscribe to this podcast where we will announce and feature new courses as they become available. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, this is what learning feels like.